Now, you mentioned Jadeveon Clowney, of course. I want to talk about him and his recruitment. And, of course, just humble brag, but when you recruit and sign the greatest recruit ever, I mean, that's something to hang your hat on. What was his recruitment like? I mean, we know it was fierce, but I'll tell you, I know 2011, 2010, 2011, Twitter and all that social media hadn't really quite taken off yet, certainly the way it is now. But I don't remember, like, JD making a big to-do of it. It was kind of a pretty quiet process, I felt like.
JD, he wasn't into recruiting for the most part. I mean, he was a bashful kid.
Right.
I mean, he loved the Gamecocks now. And, I mean, we knew he was coming long before he ever announced it and all that stuff. But Ellis Johnson was the main recruiter for Jadeveon, and I was kind of the secondary guy because I was going to be the guy that coached him. And I was recruiting Marcus Lattimore at the time. So I had my plate full as far as what was going on in South Carolina. And Ellis and I did most of the state. We probably recruited 95% of the kids in the state of South Carolina that came here. And but Ellis was the main guy. In fact, there was something came out somewhere in a paper or whatever. And in the final meeting we had with Ellis's mom, Josina, and his granddad, and something came out that somebody else was there or whatever. And Ellis, he called me up and said, Brad, he said, who all was in that meeting with us that day? And I said, well, you and I and Josina and his his dad and granddad. He said, that's what I thought. And so, but Ellis did a great job keeping us in there because, see, as a coordinator, he didn't get a chance to go out a lot. So that was kind of my job to go out and, handle a lot of that. But Ellis was the driving force behind it.
Right.
Ron Cooper did a great job of helping get us Holloman. And then Holloman turned.
Because he was a Clemson commit, right? What was it?
Right.
Holloman flipped him from Clemson, yeah.
And Ron Cooper was a big reason that happened. But I remember going to Rock Hill, and Cooper and I went in there to see Holloman and had our little visit with him. And I could tell he wasn't fired up by Clemson, so we got that kind of flip.
Yeah.
And then Billy Napier started doing some stuff that was crazy. And we had an alum that didn't like Napier very good, so he filmed Billy at a ball game doing some stuff that you can't do in recruiting. Right. And sent it to Joe Don or Billy Don, whatever that AD's name was. I don't even know what
Terry Don. Terry Don, yeah.
Sent it to him. Well, I mean, it had Billy doing stuff. I mean, he was trying to strong arm the Holloman's dad, basically, and that was done because he had to bug out. But Holloman helped us get Gilmore, which helped us get Jadeveon. And if you want to point at one person responsible for all that, is Ellis Johnson, in my opinion. And Ellis had to do a lot of it from the side. A lot of times I was his mouthpiece. He'd just tell me when I would go in there, he said, man, we got to sell this, sell that. And we were always on the same page. But he and I did almost all the South Carolina stuff. And I'd been here so long, and Ellis is from Winsboro, and that was kind of, that's the way we were recruited.
So I'm curious, what were you guys selling? What were the main selling? I know at that point it was, hey, come here, do things that have never been done. We have Coach Spurrier, but I mean, what were the other major selling points that?
Main one was player development.
Okay.
Ellis and I, say, here's the guys we've developed over the years. You want to go somewhere and chance your career to play for some guy that's never really developed. A lot of players, or go somewhere where you're going to get developed. And the other thing that happens with that is that so many kids get caught up in all that the internet stuff that we were talking about. But JD never did. Lattimore never did. Gilmore never did. In fact, if you see them talk on TV or whatever nowadays, I mean, they're almost bashful kids.
Yeah.
They weren't into that. And their high school coaches had a big play in it. I mean, Bobby Carroll did a great job of handling kids at South Point, and Marcus's coaches he had there in Burns. I mean, they were great with him, and his stepdad Vernon was awesome. Keeping him grounded. So there were a lot of kids, and I tell people one of the reasons this program got turned like it did, we had a great run of players in South Carolina. I mean, a great run.
Yeah.
And we didn't just get some of them. We got them all. We got everything, one of them.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons South Carolina flipped so quick. And, and then all of a sudden Clemson kind of became a non-factor for a long time.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know what happened. I mean, Ellis left and went to Southern Miss, and went there, settled, whatever. And then I left and went to Florida. But, and I don't know what all happened. That's none of my business. I wasn't here then. But, you know, I catch a lot of grief for why I left South Carolina. And, you know, go to Florida. I said, shit, they gave me a $100,000 raise. What would you do? I mean,
Yeah.
what would you do?
Right.
And so, but I love this place.
Yeah.
Gamecock's always been good to me, and I love South Carolina, and that's why I live here now. My grandkids, my daughter and her husband, and grandkids live here, and I think my son one day when he finally gets through coaching, he's at Alabama right now. I think when he gets through coaching one day, he'll end up probably coming back here to live. So, yeah we love this area.